Don't forget, you can reach the latest episode of Potomac Watch anytime. Just ask your smart speaker, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast. That is, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast.
From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Welcome back. I'm Paul Gigot here with Kim Strassel and Bill McGurn. Let's go now to, before we finish on these pardons, Biden issued not only pardons to his brother, James Biden's sister-in-law, a sister and brother-in-law, and a younger brother for 10 years, pretty much anything they did since January 1st, 2014. That is similar to the pardon he issued for his son, Hunter. And that's rather extraordinary. His statement justifying it: "My family has been subjected to unrelenting attacks and threats motivated solely by a desire to hurt me, the worst kind of partisan politics. Unfortunately, I have no reason to believe these attacks will end." And that's why he says he did the pardons. He also, earlier in the last 24 hours, issued sweeping pardons for former military Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Mark Milley, for Anthony Fauci, who was the architect of so many of the COVID policies, and of the entire staff and committee of the House January 6th committee, Bill. So, I mean, as you say, that maybe this is a favor for Donald Trump in the sense that it will limit the field of people for whom he can get payback if that's what he wants. Although he swore it off in this speech. And what I also think this means is if Trump goes ahead with the pardons of the January 6th rioters, some of them, Joe Biden's not going to have much leg to stand on to criticize.
I agree, Paul, entirely. It was a great gift to Donald Trump. First of all, I think it puts kind of a stain on Biden's legacy. And actually, though they're pardoned of any crimes they may have committed, that leaves a taint on them, that they were guilty. And they may not be guilty, but I think it leaves a taint if you need a pardon and so forth. So I don't think he's done them any real favors. And again, I think for Trump, now the Justice Department can't pursue them, even if they want to, even if there are things there. And as you say, the big news on the pardon, I think Trump might have faced a lot more criticism if he pardoned these January 6th rioters without Biden's action than with. As you say, they won't have a leg to stand on if he does so.
Kim, you're going to get the last word today, as you do most every day. I think that these pardons are, in many ways, where the political logic of lawfare takes you, right? Because if you unleash the prosecutorial powers against your political opponents, you're inviting, as we have warned many, many times, your political opponents to say, aha, we can do that too. So what do you do if you're the outgoing president and you have done this? Well, you pardon all of your people who could be targets of the new administration. It's a terrible road to go down. We warned about it when Biden started this and the Democrats started this path with Alvin Bragg and Fani Willis in Georgia and Jack Smith. Urged on. Jack Smith was by President Biden. We have to be clear about that. All this nonsense that Biden didn't want to do it. It's now coming out that he wanted Merrick Garland to indict Trump earlier than he did. That has now clearly come out in the post-election coverage. And now Biden says, well, I guess I have to protect all the people who could be Trump's targets. And, it's a terrible path that Biden has gone down. And I think this is a real mark against his legacy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to look at it. This was the inevitable inglorious end of Democrats' lawfare strategy. Because let's think about this. Remember, worried that they could not win on their own merits because they had no record really to run on and their ideas were out of the mainstream, they turned to this idea. Joe Biden will be remembered as the first president in history whose Department of Justice went after and prosecuted a former president. And by the way, a current political opponent as well, too. That can't be forgotten. This was not Donald Trump who was off on the wilderness. The understanding was that he was coming back, and that just really made that DOJ action very, very notable and problematic. And not only did they not succeed with those Department of Justice lawsuits or these state attorneys general or state actions against him, but now here they are at the end of this lost election, and they have to fight this rearguard action to make sure that their own tactics aren't used against them. them. And I do hope that that is the message that everyone gets from lawfare, that it is not a viable way to succeed in politics. And it's why I hope of all of those lines that we brought up that Donald Trump said during this inaugural address, his commitment to fair, equal, and impartial justice under the U.S. Constitution. If we could rein the DOJ in, get them out of elections, how many cycles now have we had DOJ interfering in elections, playing politics? It needs to be done. And I think Americans would be grateful to Donald Trump alone if we witness that over the next 4 years.
Hear, hear, Kim. All right. That's going to be it for today, Inauguration Day, our Potomac Watch show. Thank you all for listening. Thanks to Kim and Bill. The Trump administration 2.0 is off and running. It promises to be, I would say, a daily drama and will be fun for journalists to cover. And we'll be here every day. That's it for Potomac Watch for today. Thank you.